Why is it so poppin'? What's going on? I've never even heard of Tulum until the actual pandemic, when I was stuck at home, literally doing nothing. There are many things that create a buzz and an interest in a city or a country or basically anything. I'm always curious about how these things come to be. If you're wondering what I'm talking about Tulum. When I went there the first time, the lead up for it was so exciting. I was really hyped because I saw all these people on my timeline during the pandemic going to this place. And I'm like, why is it so poppin'? What's going on? And I've never even heard of Tulum until the actual pandemic, when I was stuck at home, literally doing nothing. But when I actually found out about what made Tulum interesting, it wasn't what I expected. And this is the title of the video. Tulum, a sleepy village town turned into a global hotspot, and how it became that way. Before my research, I would have given you the answer that Tulum's popularity came from COVID. It didn't exist in my brain before COVID actually started. But that's not actually true. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's talk about Tulum in terms of geography. Tulum is located in the state Quintana Roo in the Yucatan Peninsula. Part of the Riviera Maya, Tulum was home to the ancient Mayan community and now the current Mayan community of today. The name, the Riviera Maya, comes from the Mayan community. First, it was called the Cancun-Tulum corridor, and then changed to the Riviera Maya when there was a change of infrastructure and ideas of what they wanted to make the Yucatan Peninsula up to be. It's located south of Cancun. Now Cancun, Tulum's big sister, started their development in the 1970s when the Mexican government wanted to do something with this large mass of unused land. This designated empty land was going to be used for tourism. So that meant hotels, golf courses, shopping malls, and anything else that somebody would need for vacation. They even built an airport for visitors, so getting to their all-inclusive hotels would be even easier. And Cancun worked. Cancun worked too well. It became too pricey, too touristy, and people who wanted a more unique feel started to move southwards. First, it was Playa del Carmen, then it was Tulum. I would say the development of Cancun and the Riviera Maya was the first phase in how Tulum became popular. If it wasn't for people searching for something that was different from Cancun, Tulum wouldn't be as popular as it is today, because Cancun would have fulfilled everything that people wanted. The second phase of making Tulum popular was the NAFTA agreement, specifically the North American Free Trade Agreement. And now you're saying, Amadi, I thought we were talking about Tulum and its poppiness and how it got there. What does NAFTA and politics have to do with it? In the agreement in 1994, there was a creation of a free trade zone between Mexico, Canada, and the new United States. So what that meant, as of 2008, Mexico became the second highest export of US goods. So what that meant was that you can have a very unique Americanized feel in your very high tourist zones, such as Cancun, such as Playa del Carmen, and such as Tulum. You can get your snacks, you can get your products, and you can have a grand old time, making visitors from America feel more comfortable. By the early 2000s, hotels started popping up like daisies, specifically boutique hotels in Tulum. Now, if you do not know what a boutique hotel is a non-chain hotel that has some form of theme or a main purpose for their hotels. Also, a lot of hotels that popped up were eco lodges. So eco lodges literally means economy lodges. So a lot of these wouldn't even have electricity. You're literally living on nature with a nice breeze, maybe a fan, and a bed with a mosquito net. Though there are eco-lodges that still held up within all the changes in Tulum, Tulum was changing, and Tulum was changing rapidly. In the mid-1990s, Tulum had a population around 2,000. Then it reached 12,000 by the early 2000s. This is the third phase. Foreigners were coming into Tulum and staying. Backpackers and yogis looking for a spiritual retreat and being the antithesis of Cancun. Tulum was a place to recenter. A lot of celebrities would go there to separate themselves from the paparazzi and the mainstream and the crowds of people trying to take their picture and get in their boobs and get in their business. Tulum was exclusive and tucked away from the world. The true turn of Tulum started in the mid-2010s. So gone were the backpackers, the hippies, the yogis, and the hot celebrities. Then come the spring breakers, the bachelor and bachelorette parties, and the full moon parties. And it was not just a very rowdy and touristy people that were coming into Tulum. People understood that there was money to be had in Tulum. So even famous restaurants were having pop-up shops in Tulum to take advantage of this mass herd of individuals going there. Tulum was being transformed into places like Mykonos or Ibiza, basically party towns where people go in there to rave, to trash the place, and talk about the good times that they remember having because they were so drunk. And with that, everybody wanted a piece of the pie. So there were more businesses popping up, there were more hotels popping up, as well as more residential areas for people, once again, who did not want to leave this highlight of partying life and deciding to stay in Mexico. A good example of this were popular high-end chefs like Rene Redzepi, who was popular for his Noma restaurant. He actually went to Tulum to have a pop-up restaurant called Noma Mexico, with the plates being charged at $600 a pop. Oh yes, you heard me, $600. The New York Times article discussed the economic landscape of Tulum during the time of Chef Redzepi's pop-up restaurant, mentioning Tulum is not a city, it's a resort town. Formerly a sleepy getaway that had sunrise yoga classes, has been climbing upscale, largely thanks to the tourist economy. The state of Quintana Roo has the largest employment rate in the country, but the average income is in the bottom third, and about half of the state's residents live in moderate or extreme poverty. Or Eduardo Wiedeman, who is the owner of the Rosa Negra group. So Rosa Negra is really interesting for me because they are a high-end luxury entertainment group that are in charge of around 10 restaurants for Cancun, Playa del Carmen, and Tulum. Some in Mexico City as well. I have been to a couple of them. I've gone to Rosa Negra and Taboo, and another one that I'm forgetting. Oh, Funky Geisha. Very high price and very entertainment filled, but he has created this monopoly and this market within these high tourist places for restaurants and entertainment. So I think these are really amazing, great examples of how Tulum changed. And with tourism increasing and increasing, we have to talk about Tulum in another aspect, and that's sustainability. So Tulum, once again, had around 2,000 individuals in the mid-1990s, and people decided to stay in Tulum, and not only stay in Tulum, party in Tulum and party hard. Tulum was not built like Cancun. Tulum was not built for the infrastructure that Cancun had. So there were various different issues that popped up with this mass rush to Tulum. In 2019, an article was written by The New Yorker describing the conditions in Tulum. There is no electricity on the beach, so diesel generators groan all day and night to run the air conditioners for customers' demands. The beach has no adequate sewer system, and the waste has been leaching into the water supply beneath Tulum and out to the ocean, killing the coral reef. Tulum's old landfill, a few miles outside of the town, is full, and last summer it burned in the heat for 3 months straight. The new dump was supposed to last for 5 years, but it was already overflowing after 18 months. And when I speak about Cancun's infrastructure, I'm specifically talking about city planning. This infrastructure, there was room for hotel zones, for local areas and residential areas, for shopping areas, and specifically conservations, parks, airports, and a place to put their waste. Starting in 2018, there did become stricter rules and measurements about how Tulum would be taken care of based on the activist work that individuals who lived and came from these Mayan communities advocated for. So it's very important to know at this point in time, Tulum was popular for the people who knew. If you knew, you knew. And then the pandemic hit. And just like many countries around the world, Mexico was hit with the pandemic and the shutdown. The state of Quintana Roo itself lost 97,000 jobs. Tourism, specifically in Quintana Roo state, which had the Yucatan Peninsula that held the Riviera Maya, made up 87% of Mexico's gross domestic product. Unlike other Western countries that closed their doors once the pandemic happened, Mexico was open. They didn't require a PCR test. This was before the vaccination was fully rolled out. Between 2020 and 2021, the state of Quintana Roo received 961,000 visitors coming to Mexico. In that stretch, nearly half of those individuals were coming from the United States. And this is where I come in. I went to Mexico for my birthday in 2021. I had a ball, I had a blast. But I was a product of Tulum's popularity. Tulum is an amazing, great place. I truly, truly love it. Personally, my love of Tulum is that the people are friendly. Mexicans are really nice. They work with you if you do not know the language of Spanish, unlike certain countries who will curse you out. The beaches are nice. Definitely a great time to go is during December and January, where the seaweed is very low and or non-existent. It's full of history. I learned so much history being in the Yucatan and learning about the Mayan people and learning about the ancient Mayan people as well was really great and really rich. And selfishly, it is great as African American person because there's a lot of expats that have created a community of Black people in Tulum. Also being selfish, there's a lot of vegan spots there, so I don't eat meat and I also don't ingest dairy, so I have so many options and I really feel appreciated there. So not only is there amazing weather, I get to eat what I want, hang out and listen to music that I want, and just chill. I would love to go back. At this point in time, I've gone twice and I've enjoyed both times that I've gone. But then after I did my research on this video, it's really interesting just to learn about how things become popular and your own perception of how that ends up happening. So if you like this video, please comment. This is the first time me doing a video like this. It took me a very long time, I'm not gonna lie. This is probably like the third time me filming this and I'm just trying to get it out at this point. Video essays is something that I truly do enjoy, so I wanted to create my own video essay. Please tell me if you found this interesting, useful. There's going to be more coming up. I don't know how soon, but definitely more coming up. This channel is changing and evolving. It's not just about travel, it's also about interesting questions about travel and culture and people, and also movie reviews and learning a little bit more about me as well, since I am the person making these videos. So I have vlogs, I have movie reviews, and now I'm doing video essays on top of my travel content. So please stay tuned for the exciting things that are coming on in my channel, and thank you for stopping by.